I need a life sentence for this boy, so I will be happy. My kid will be happy. Because at the end of the day, I don't want them to go for just 15, 18 years. They come out back, they make another problem for another family. Because once you're a killer, you're always a killer.
Mrs. Calico was holding the baby for whom the christening had been arranged at this rundown community hall, now all boarded up. The gang burst in, heavily armed and intent on violence, and although the guests showed no resistance to the robbery, Mrs. Calico was shot in the head and fell to the ground, still holding the baby. Incredibly, as she lay dying on the floor, the gang proceeded to rob the guests of their valuables.
Zainab's husband had not been at the christening and only found out his wife had been killed when he was met at the hospital by detectives.
I don't really know what the man said, so I have to ask the policeman back again. I said, what do you say? Before the doctor said, Zainab is dead. They shot Zainab in Wooden Estate in Peckham in a party.
The 33-year-old health worker from Sierra Leone was murdered in front of family and friends at what should have been the happiest of occasions, her niece's christening in South London. But a violent armed gang intent on robbing the guests brought the occasion to an horrific end. The teenage gang, 3 of whom are now facing deportation, will be sentenced in February.
The gang spied on the christening party guests and planned their attack from a flat directly above the Wood Dean Estate Community Centre, where they were able to see people coming and clearly. The youths then covered their faces and armed themselves with a shotgun and pistol before storming the party, firing a number of shots. They stole handbags, mobile phones and even took wine and food. As they filled their bags, Zainab lay dying. The baby had fallen from her arms, but miraculously was not hurt.
I thought it was the bulbs, because we are just standing underneath the fluorescent bulbs. So I looked up and the bulbs were okay. Then another bang, by then she was on the floor.
Outside where a family christening became a shooting spree, a man was last night taken into custody, one of 3 men arrested in connection with the murder of a woman gunned down while she was cradling a baby.
Police were arrested as they tried to barge through a security cordon to get back to their flat. When police raided the property, they found the evidence they needed. Police found one of the bin bags stuffed with mobile phones, women's handbags and a small amount of cash hidden on top of a wardrobe in the bedroom. The other was inside a kitchen cupboard. After a trial lasting 8 long weeks, the family of the dead woman emerged from court with the officers who led the investigation, which today ended in all 4 suspects being convicted.
I'd like to take this opportunity with Operation Trident in paying tribute to the family, friends and community of Zainab. Despite their terrifying ordeal, they've worked with us non-stop in helping us achieve this verdict, and it shows their determination to take guns off the streets of London.
Because Ruth is no more here, and when he finishes sentences, he will go back to his own country. He will still be alive, and my daughter is no more here. So I love my daughter very much, and he will never be forgotten. He will still be remembered.
Ruth had been stabbed 7 times, and although paramedics worked desperately to try and save her, it's thought she probably died before she reached hospital.
From a car after accusing her of being disrespectful. Ruth Okachukwo's mother also wanted her killer thrown out of Britain.
Ruth was born and bred here, in school here, he's a British. I see no reason why somebody who come from other place, which is a legal immigrant, to come and kill my daughter.
One of them, I understand, has possibly 2 years ago, has 2 children. Their behaviour, documentation we found suggests that they would be older, but the courts and we were bound by the ages that they'd given.
The concern is, why was Malassi not found when he committed the first crime? Had he been apprehended the first time, Malassi would not have killed my daughter. So I do not know where the laxity lied, and I do not know where the loophole or how he escaped from the net.
My father had this message for young men who continue to carry knives.
I cannot see the relationship between carrying a knife and, of course, what the benefit is between using the knife on a defenseless lady or a defenseless man. So, on the whole, I'm appealing and pleading to them, please think twice, have this civil fear, have respect for mankind and dignity for mankind, and do not use knife when there's any disagreement on any level.
Given the horrific nature of these crimes, the judge has urged the Home Office to look again at the 4 men.
Thought to have lied about their ages to stay in the country and to have used false passports. They rarely went to school and boasted appalling criminal records despite their relative youth. Diamond and Timmy had been known to the police and probation service for years. Diamond had been electronically tagged, and at the time of the murder, both brothers were supposed to be under the supervision of youth offending teams. Diamond's criminal career began in 2001 when, aged 12, he was given a conditional discharge for stealing a car. 9 months later, he appeared in court accused of burglary, and in the same year, he received a 6-month detention and training order for robbery. He was then given a further 4-month detention back in 2003. Brother Timmy had been in trouble with the police since he was 10 years old. In 2001, he pleaded guilty to being part of a street gang who followed a group of schoolgirls, one of whom he threatened with a knife and robbed of her mobile phone. In 2002, he pleaded guilty to theft, and a year later, he was given a 12-month supervision order. This was followed by another order for 2 years in 2004 after being convicted of assault with intent to resist arrest. During the murder trial, the jury was shown mobile phone footage recorded after Mrs. Calico's death. The footage briefly featured Diamond's brother Timmy and showed an unidentified person pointing a large shotgun at a frightened youth who was forced to strip on camera. Timmy was a very dangerous guy, and he used to terrorize youths in Peckham back in the early 2000s. A boy known as Sugar told the police how the boys had hatched out the robbery plan from his flat in New Cross.